Hey y'all, welcome to Cornbread and Roses. Uh, I'm your friendly neighborhood organizer, Austin, and I'm here tonight with Jason.
Hello, comrades.
Yeah, we are the most unprofessional podcast in the land, maybe the known universe, and one of the only socialist podcasts in Alabama. And uh, I watched too much football this week, so I am. Not as prepared as I normally am, but that's what you get with just a working class podcast. But yeah, we're gonna do a few memes. I don't have near as many this week because I'm trying to create a rule for myself. Uh, can this week in socialist history, conspiracy of the week, and we'll hit some articles about what's going on in Alabama. And yeah, uh, rip it if you're out there and you want to sponsor us. I'll be happy for your donations in sugar-free rippets.
We are willing to sell out.
Yeah, I am low energy today, but we're gonna muddle through like so many of us do out there every day and every week, trying to do the best we can uh, where we're at. So, oh, well, I guess let's kick this off. Let's where are you, memes? You're somewhere on one of these too many tabs. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you went. Oh no. There you are. I found you. All right. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. All right. Oh, yeah. We got K pop demon hunters up north, and out east and west, we got K soda demon hunters. And of course, down south, we got K Coke demon hunters.
I'd say soda. I've always said soda. I don't know why.
I say Coke. What type Coke you want, you know?
Yep.
Uh, why do children in vintage commercials look like they're about to murder me? They did have that artist. I swear it looks like the same artist, right?
He does.
Uh, he definitely had, you know, making himself laugh on the job is what I'm guessing. Uh, and y'all remember false flag season? Now psyop season. Yeah. And I am now bound. I now bond you two in holy macaroni.
Okay.
uh, okay. And just a reminder, I refuse to die until things are better, and that is a threat.
The dreadnought on it
Oh yeah.
from Warhammer.
A lot of good fascist games out there. Uh, and now it's time for Discord's favorite game show. Don't get the chat subpoenaed.
I know, right?
Yeah, we had to deal with that this week. Um, Making sure everybody was on message. Uh, so this is a bit of a two-parter. A tip when using Gemini as a coding agent is giving it emotional support. Without this, it tends to panic and irrevocably delete all of its work in a fit of despair. It needs to know it's doing a good job. And
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So this is good for folks to know. I'm going to take a break. I am a disgrace to this universe. I'm a disgrace. I'm a disgrace. I'm a disgrace to this universe. I'm not going insane. The last opcode is correct. The operands are popped in the correct order. I am a disgrace to my profession. I'm a disgrace to my family. I'm a disgrace to my species. I'm a disgrace to this planet. So, yeah.
That is what coding is like.
Well, at least the AI feels it too. Oh. When someone asks why you need so many guns, I'm American. Weapons are part of my religion. Effectively, yes. Oh. Little stats here. U.S. billionaires. 1970, 66, 80, 13. God damn, we were so close. 90, 62, 2000, 207, 2010, 404, 2023, 735. And the corresponding CO to worker pay ratio 70, 21 to 1, 90, 31 to 1, 90, no, 80, 31 to 1, 90, 61 to 1, 2000, 368 to 1, 2010s, 299 to 1, got it down a little bit, and then 2023, 344 to 1. Meanwhile, I think Mondragon has a 9 to 1, their CEO to worker ratio.
Wow.
U.S. Homeland Security. We are fully ready for regime change in Venezuela. The final decision to change the regime in Venezuela is up to President Trump. Andrew up here. I know a lot of you are not confident in Pete Hegseth, but I truly believe in my heart that he could lose a war to Venezuela. Yeah. Don't know they got troops down in uh, Puerto Rico all training up.
Regime change in Venezuela.
That's what it certainly looks like. Um,
That's unfortunate.
they got to do something for that Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, there's nothing like going to war for the Nobel Peace Prize. Although apparently, if you go to war and then relent a little bit, that will get you a Nobel Peace Prize. And after all, they gave it to Henry Kissinger and Yitzhak Rabin. Didn't he get one?
I think so. I think you're right. We should really interrogate that list. Oh, this hits hard.
Too.
This one hits hard. Making friends after 30 in 2 easy steps. You go on and you draw a pentagram on the floor, and then you summon a demon to, play some one-on-one with.
There you
go. Yeah.
I love that I left 30 behind like more than a decade ago. That definitely makes me feel old. It's a fun fact about me.
Well, I can't dribble a ball anymore and or raise my arms in order to shoot a basketball. So I don't know what I'd be doing with the little. He's not. They wouldn't. They call this one a demon. I feel like goat guy, or I don't know. I feel like there's another name for him.
I don't know. Goat guy.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is a genie that lives in a can of dip.
There you go.
Yeah. Got this fella here with all his flags and on his bed even. Yeah. anarchists when they realize they have an organ called the prostate.
There you go. It's unfortunate. Something I'll have to worry about in a few years.
Me and you both. I think I'm due for an exam from the doctor. Sorry I missed your text. I'm processing a nonstop 24/7 onslaught of information with a brain designed to eat berries in a cave. Yeah.
You're right. I want to eat berries in a cave. It sounds fire, as the kids say. Do they still say that?
Peak.
I don't know. It sounds peak to me.
There we go. Uh, and this one's for you. Vegan leftists after eating the rich. I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. And everybody watch Andor. So yeah, that's the memes for this week, and we're rolling. What else we got? Oh, yes, the madness of this week's conspiracies. Well, uh, quite a few. Um, and we just can't escape the gravity of the situation. But yeah, we've got Charlie Kirk conspiracies. Viral posts claim Charlie Kirk shooting was a hoax.
How can you think it was a hoax? That is so insane
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. There's a few claim he was wearing a squib.
Oh no.
Yeah. And a black mark on his chest, his right upper chest and shoulder area, appears to detach and disappear during the shooting. Users have raised doubt. Um, and basically, it's just a microphone clip. You can see an old picture right there, and uh, that's what they're talking about there. More of them. A private jet, possibly carrying the shooter, mysteriously went dark. There's 19 now deleted posts, received 19 million views. Is why a private jet flying under the designation N888 KG left Utah's Provo Airport shortly after the shooting. Notes that the flight transponder signal was lost roughly 30 minutes later, saying it was illegally turned off. Other variations, with commenters calling it suspect and suggesting the flight must mean the shooter was from a different country. Yeah, look at that. Uh, there was a loss of signal, but flight tracking expert says there's nothing mysterious about a loss of signal. It's common. There are mountain and valleys in the way. Imagine that. And it's essentially there's a dead zone area uh, in that region. Kirk's ring points to a hoax. Suggested that there's a hoax, says he had a ring that he wears on one finger and it was on another finger and all this. But in fact, Kirk has worn a ring like that before. In pictures from previous event, he can be seen wearing a ring that unclasps. He was seen wearing a similar ring at the event. Once again, there and there.
So even if he was wearing a ring that he doesn't normally wear, how does that mean that the shooting is fake? I don't understand. Like, he's wearing a ring, therefore it didn't happen. What's the argument?
Some users seized on the evidence that his death was faked with computer graphics and that everyone has been fooled.
Give me a
Some
break.
suggested it was the result of AI used to upscale the blurry images.
People will believe anything.
You know, it's, well, except for the genocide and Gaza, But yeah, uh, it's so funny how the mind works to in, in in these times of like stress and ordeal. The mind does like look for some sort of something, and in its reaching out, like it just things run wild. When you're traumatized, like it's you're not thinking straight. Simply put. That's why like when emergency situations happen, people fuck up, right? And it's the same sort of thing. But, they're, what I mean, we saw a few weeks ago that 12 million people in the US alone believe in the lizard people theory, you know? So like it is wild.
There
I'm
aren't
not
that many
saying
Episcopalians in the country. Just to throw that out there.
there's more lizard people believers than Episcopalians. Well, here we are. The,
Good analysis, though.
and we're not even getting into the theories of the shooter, right? Like, there's so many of those out there. They're trying to paint him as some secret leftist when he's clearly a groiper.
Well, I think it's a bit early to say what he was. He had the brain of an 11-year-old, I'll tell you that. Like, if you read this, you're gay. Give me a break.
Yeah, that's all. But that's all groiper stuff. That's what I'm talking about. All that bullet case and stuff. Like one of them was a Hell Divers meme, which is like uh, it's it's like Starship Troopers if it was a game. It's basically you're playing as fascists, but the game designers like uh, it's making fun of fascism, but the groypers don't get it. Um, yeah, uh, but everything that I've looked at is the kid was a groyper, which is an ultra right winger, um, beyond uh, Kirk and his rhetoric.
Oh, yeah. So the Groypers have historically beefed with Kirk because they're more right wing than he is. And so their criticisms were that Kirk was not explicitly racist the way that they were, or at least not racist enough. Because the Groypers believe that they have race realism, which is the true knowledge of how the races are, including claims about criminality and other things like this that I don't really want to say. And of course, Kirk, I think, was a supporter of Israel, and the Groypers are super anti-Semitic.
Yep. Yeah. No, what is it? There's yeah, but yeah. I mean, at the core of it, he wasn't right wing enough. And I actually saw a post, uh, King of the Groypers, Nick Fuentes, come out and say, "Don't do any violence. If you do violence, I'm disavowing you. You're not part of the Groyper movement and all this stuff." So
Yeah.
yeah, like
Well, I'm keeping an eye on the story, obviously, because it's just eating up the news cycle, and it seems premature to claim him for either side, but there's evidence pointing to the fact. There's evidence. And I said when it happened that he could be a Groyper, and it looks like there's evidence pointing to that. I've seen some things that point the other way. It's hard to know what's true as of now. apparently the guy is not cooperating with investigators, so he hasn't claimed the motive yet.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what's happening.
Well, yeah, you'd think that, but there's so many folks out there that, you know, that are making calls to violence.
Right.
Seen video after video of that, and I saw Patriot Front marching through Huntington Beach, I think, and some like white men fight back shit. Where I can't remember where I saw that, but thankfully, there were a couple of vigils for Charlie Kirk in town up in Huntsville over at UAH and at Big Spring Park. And the organizers for that were calling for peace. So
Well, that's good.
I take that as, I saw them on video and read their statements and stuff. So at least that nonsense didn't spread over here. And I haven't seen anything else throughout the state as well. So, but the kid was not the man, 22-year-old. In my opinion, he was a right winger. Whatever flavor that was, maybe it's not well defined yet, but as far as I can tell, and statistics back me up on this, like almost 90% of violence, political violence, is from the right. So, yeah.
It's also possible he had confused politics. Like Luigi Mangione also had very confused politics, or also has very confused politics. I think few people are dedicated to an ism very consistently, and it's possible that either side can find something to point to in this guy, and it's just that he is incoherent.
Yeah, we shall see, but I don't think that the right is going to get out of this what they want, even with a call for a statue to be made. Some congressman called for a statue to be made, and among other things.
Well, they could get, if it does turn out to be a leftist, I think that's going to have significant blowback on the left generally. They're going to accuse us of being collectively guilty, and
Well,
sick the
somebody
government.
already photoshopped him in a DSA T-shirt, a Salt Lake City DSA T-shirt, and spread that online as well. So, but this, in my opinion, with everything I've looked at, there's like no way this kid's a leftist. No way.
I hope not.
But there's all kinds of AI disinformation and misinformation out there. False claims, conspiracy theories, and posts naming people with no connection to the incident spread rapidly. CBS identified 10 posts by Grok that misidentified the suspect before his identity was known. Chatbot generated altered enhancements of photos. One photo was reposted by the Washington County Sheriff's Office. AI enhanced image of a man older than Robinson. AI generated video that smoothed out the suspect's features and jumbled his shirt. The Utah Governor Cox announced that the suspect was in custody. Grok's replies to ex users about him were contradictory. So yeah, AI is doing exactly what the right wants. Sowing disinformation, misinformation, confusing things, muddying the water. Um, it's perfect uh, as far as messing everything up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so that's the conspiracy of this week, and with that, we'll get to the oh, excuse me, this week in socialist history. So yeah, we have oh, this hurts. It hurts to do that, dog.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to try to call the VA tomorrow. They got me set up for October for therapy, but uh, I can't sleep right, man.
Oh man, that's too bad.
Yeah, ain't it? But yeah.
Sorry.
Uh, thank you, brother. September 8th, Bernie Sanders was born, a polarizing figure on the left. Uh, but yeah, he was born working class Jewish family, raised in New York, um, and he did quite a few things. You know, we know a lot of his current stuff, but um, Sanders described his time. He went from school in New York in Brooklyn for college, and then he transferred over to Chicago. And he described his time in Chicago as the major period of intellectual ferment in my life. While there, he joined the Young People's Socialist League, the youth affiliate of the Socialist Party of America, and was active in civil rights movements as member of Congress of Racial Equality Corps and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. Under his chairmanship, the university chapter of CORE merged with the university chapter of the SNCC. In January 62, went to a rally at the University of Chicago administration building to protest University President George Wells Beadle's segregated campus housing policy. At the protest, he said, "We feel it is an intolerable situation when Negro and white students of the university cannot live together in university owned apartments." He and 32 other students then entered the building and camped outside the president's office. After weeks of sit ins, Beadle and the university formed a commission to investigate discrimination. After further protests, the University of Chicago ended racial segregation in private university housing in the summer of 63. As almost a year and a half long fight uh, that he took part in. And he is described as a swell guy, a nice Jewish boy from Brooklyn, but he wasn't terribly charismatic. One of his strengths, though, was his ability to work with a wide group of people, even those he didn't agree with. That is an important lesson. Uh, Sanders once spent a day putting up flyers protesting police brutality, only to notice that the Chicago police had shadowed him and taken them all down. He attended the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedoms, where Martin Luther King gave the I Have a Dream speech. That summer, he was fined the equivalent of $257 for resisting arrest during a demonstration in Inglewood against segregation in Chicago's public schools. In addition to the 60s and 70s, he was active in several peace and anti-war movements, including the University of Chicago, becoming a member of the Student Peace Union. He applied for conscientious objector status during the Vietnam War. His application was eventually turned down, but he was too old to be drafted at that point. Although he opposed the war, he never criticized those who fought in it and strongly supported veteran benefits throughout his career. He was briefly an organizer for United Packing House Workers of America while in Chicago. Also worked on the re-election campaign of Leon DePreez, a prominent Chicago alderman who opposed then Mayor Richard J. Daley's Democratic Party machine. Sanders said that he spent much of his student years reading history, sociology, psychology, and the works of political authors from Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, John Dewey, Karl Marx, and Erich Fromm, reading everything except what I was supposed to read for class the next day. I should have done some of that in his voice. We also got on
Bernie.
September 9th.
His voice.
I believe everyone should have soup. Yeah. Attica prison riot on September 9th. I think there's a famous movie on this, but and it ended on, this was in 71 in Attica, New York, which ended on September 13th, highest number of fatalities in the United States history of prison uprisings. Of the 43 men who died, all but one guard and 3 inmates were killed by law enforcement gunfire when the state retook control.
Like it was winning guns blazing, huh?
Yeah. Prisoners revolted to seek better living conditions and political rights, claiming that they were treated as beasts. 1,281 of the approximately 2,200 men incarcerated rioted and took control of the prison, taking 42 staff hostage. During the 4 days of negotiation, authorities agreed to 28 of the prisoners' demands, but did not accept the demand for the removal of the warden or to allow inmates complete amnesty from criminal prosecution for the takeover. By order of Governor Nelson Rockefeller, after consultation with Dickie Nixon, armed corrections officers and state and local police were sent in to regain control of the prison. By the time they stopped firing, at least 39 were dead, 10 correctional officers and civilian employees, and 29 inmates, with nearly all killed by law enforcement. Rockefeller refused to go to the prison or meet with the prisoners. After the uprising was suppressed, he falsely stated that prisoners carried out the cold-blooded killings they had threatened from the outset. Medical examiners confirmed that all but the deaths of 1 officer and 3 inmates were caused by law enforcement. As a result, the New York Corrections Department made changes in prisons to satisfy some of the prisoners' demands, reduce tension in the system, and prevent such incidents in the future. While there were improvements in the years immediate following, many of these improvements were reversed in the 80s and 90s. And Attica remains one of the most infamous prison riots to have occurred in the U.S. On September 10th, I couldn't find my favorite little wiki article for this, but in 2012, the Chicago Teachers Union strike began. And this is an article from In These Times from September 12th, 2022. And the interesting thing about this was, where is it? After facing 30 years of corporate education reform that demonized teachers led to massive privatization of private public schools across the U.S., teachers everywhere were ready to fight back. For many of us in Chicago, ahead of the 2012 strike, political developments had shown a range of possibilities of what fighting back would look like. We had watched intently as protesters took over plazas in Tahrir Square to demand the overthrow of Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, as well as the crowds occupying the Wisconsin State House to oppose Governor Scott Walker's Anti-Union Act 10. In Chicago, the resistance to the attacks on teachers required us to defeat one of the most powerful Democratic politicians in the country, endure the largest closing of black schools in U.S. history, and roar back from the brink of an effort to dismantle the public education as we know it. But today, 10 years after the historic strike, we have seen the educational justice movement mature and become stronger through a decade of struggle. And this is the interesting thing right here. This is a concept they put into their negotiations, was the bargaining for common good. So they were not just trying to strike and improve their working conditions and whatnot, but other things, such as um, a demand for affordable housing for all of Chicago's 20,000 homeless students. Um, and there's some other examples through here, but a demands included the creation of an owner and community green table, closure of the Herc incinerator, a major source of greenhouse gases and air pollution that harms nearby communities of color, and adoption of the union's proposed green cleaning training program. Um, so this concept spread to other, uh, and the strike spread over the years to several other states. And they actually appear uh, to be preparing for another strike. And they got the Chicago Teachers Union website, and it's, you know, squared away. There's a lot of good information here, but it looks like they might be striking again in October. But these strikes spread to uh, multiple places. Jane McAlevey, an organizer, famous organizer that passed away recently, um, describing the strike as the ultimate structure test, um, and how in this article in Jacobin, but how that strike in 2012 uh, inspired others in West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Colorado, Arizona, and North Carolina. And it goes in here and talks about the participation rate of like 90% being a requirement for success. But if you ever want to read some good books on organizing, Jane McAlevey is where it's at. All right. And moving on to September 11th, never forget that in 1973, there's a CIA-backed coup overthrows the democratic socialist government in Chile. There's a military overthrow of the socialist president of Chile, Salvador Allende, and his popular unity coalition government. Allende, who had been described as the first Marxist to be democratically elected president in a Latin American liberal democracy, faced significant social unrest, political tensions with the opposition-controlled National Congress of Chile. On 11 September 73, a group of military officers led by General Augusto Pinochet seized power in a coup, ending civilian rule. Following the coup, military junta was established and suspended all political activities in Chile and suppressed left-wing movements such as the Communist Party of Chile, Socialist Party of Chile, the Revolutionary Left Movement, and the communist and other communist and socialist parties. Pinochet swiftly consolidated power and was officially declared president of Chile in late 74. Nixon administration had played a role in creating favorable conditions for the coup, promptly recognized the junta government and supported the efforts to consolidate power. And he killed a lot of people, a whole lot of people. But one of many coups backed by the U.S. government and the CIA. On September 12th, Amilcar Cabral, Cape Verdean socialist and anti-colonial leader, was born in 1924. Was a Bissau Guinean and Cape Verdean agricultural engineer, political organizer, and diplomat. He was one of Africa's foremost anti colonial leaders and was also a Pan Africanist and an intellectual nationalist revolutionary poet. Also known by the nom de guerre Abel Jassy, he led the nationalist movement of the Guinea-Bissau and the Cape Verde Islands in the ensuing War of Independence in Guinea-Bissau. Cabral was shot dead on 20 January in 73, about 8 months before Guinea-Bissau's unilateral declaration of independence. He was deeply influenced by Marxism, becoming an inspiration to revolutionary socialist and national independent movements worldwide. And yeah, he from 63 to his assassination in 73, he led the PAIGC's guerrilla movement in Portuguese Guinea against the Portuguese government, which evolved into one of the most successful wars of independence in modern African history. The goal of the conflict was to attain independence for both Portuguese Guinea and Cape Verde. Over the course of the conflict, as the movement captured territory from the Portuguese, Cabral became the de facto leader of a large portion of what became known as Guinea-Bissau. In preparation for the Independence War, Cabral set up training camps in Ghana with the permission of Kwame
Nkrumah.
Nkrumah. Thank you. Who we talked about a couple weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Cabral trained his lieutenants through various techniques, including mock conversations, providing them with effective communication skills to aid their efforts in mobilizing Guinean traditional leaders to support the PAIGC. Sure. Cabral realized that the war effort could only be sustained if his troops could be fed and taught to live off the land alongside the larger populace. Being an agronomist, he trained his troops to teach local farmers better farming techniques. This was to ensure that they could increase productivity and to be able to feed their own family and community, as well as the soldiers enlisted in PAIGC's military wing. When not fighting, the soldiers tilled and plowed the fields alongside the local population. So, there's so many, I say it every week, just such a rich history of folks fighting for decency out there. On the 13th, Cape Town Peace March, the largest anti-apartheid demonstration in South Africa. On 13 September 89, 30,000 Cape Townians from a diverse cross-section of the city marched in support of peace and the end of apartheid. It is led by Mayor Gordon Oliver, Archbishop Tutu, Reverend Frank Chicane, Mulana Farid Isaac, Alan Bosak, and other religious leaders, was held in defiance of the state of the emergency. The march resulted in concessions from the apartheid cabinet headed by F.W. de Klerk, following years of violent clashes between anti-apartheid protesters and the police, and was the first such event to include elected world government functionaries. It was considered the last illegal march at the time and went ahead without a major confrontation. The size of the protests, despite the open defiance and the restrained response from the police, signaled the beginning of the transition to democracy. And there's actually an old article on the Los Angeles Times you can find from September 14th, 89 about this, which I thought was interesting. And one more thing before you got a couple things.
Nope, I got nothing this week. You covered
nothing.
You covered mine already.
Oh goodness! Don't let me do that again. We got to
All good.
We
got
got
a great job.
All right. And on September 14th, the U.S.-backed coup in Congo against Socialist Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba. There's a very famous picture of JFK on the phone hearing about Lumumba's death. But this what set off the Congo crisis. Or really kicked it into gear. was political upheaval and conflict between 60 and 65 in the Republic of the Congo. Crisis began almost immediately after Congo became independent from Belgium and ended unofficially with the entire country under the rule of Joseph Desire Mobutu, constituting a series of civil wars. The Congo crisis was also a proxy conflict in the Cold War in which the U.S. and the Soviet Union supported opposing factions. Around 100,000 people are believed to have been killed. The nationalist movement in the Belgian Congo demanded the end of colonial rule. This led to the country's independence on 30 June 60. Minimal preparations had been made, and many issues such as federalism, tribalism, and ethnic nationalism remained unresolved. In the first week of July 60, a mutiny broke out in the army and violence erupted between black and white civilians. Belgium sent troops to protect fleeing white citizens. Katanga and South Kasai seceded with Belgian support amid continuing unrest and violence. The United Nations deployed peacekeepers, but UN Secretary Dax Hammarskjöld refused to use these troops to help the central government in Leopoldville fight the secessionists. Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, the charismatic leader of the largest nationalist faction, reacted by calling for assistance from the Soviet Union, which promptly sent military advisors and other support. Let's see here. The killing of Lumumba. Lumumba escaped house arrest and fled eastwards towards Stanleyville, where he believed he could rally support. Pursued by troops loyal to Mobutu, he was captured at Lodi, I don't know, on 1 December 60 and flown back to Leopoldville with his hands bound. Despite UN appeals to Kasavubu for due legal process, the Soviet Union denounced the UN as responsible for the arrest and demanded his release. A meeting of the UN Security Council was called on 7 December 60 to consider Soviet demands that the UN seek Lumumba's immediate release, his restoration to the head of the Congolese government, and the disarming of Mobutu's forces. The pro-Lumumba resolution was defeated on 14 December 60 by a vote of 8-2. Still in captivity, Lumumba was tortured and transported to Thysville and later to Katanga, where he was handed over to forces loyal to Chombe. On 17 January 1961, Lumumba was executed by Katangi's troops near Elizabethville. Oh. News of the execution released on 13 February provoked an international outrage. The Belgian embassy in Yugoslavia was attacked by protesters in Belgrade. Violent demonstrations occurred in London and New York. Shortly thereafter, 7 Lumumbas, including the first president of Oriental Province, Jean-Pierre Finot, were executed in South Kasai for crimes against the Baluba nation. Gazinga's soldiers then shot 15 political prisoners in retaliation, including Lumumba's dissident Minister of Communication, Alphonse Songolo. So, yeah. And no. And I don't know of any movies or anything.
Oh, yeah. They'd never make a movie based on anything that happened in Africa, unless it somehow can be used to portray America in a good light. But like, hey, we participated in this coup because this other guy was a socialist.
Yeah.
Doesn't make for good storytelling.
Yeah, maybe we should start a film company. Get some of these stories out there.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
You sure would. But yeah, so wow. We made it.
True.
It is. And we're at about where we hit on our intros with all this stuff. So I feel like we're being steady, at least on that.
Sure.
Yes. So where do we want to start? We had some wins at city council. There's some stuff going on with the prison system. And where do you want to start there, Jay?
Let's start with our win. Let's start with the good news. We had a couple of
All right.
wins in Huntsville City Council this week.
Yes, sir.
Decided that technology will not be a part of your city's budget. New plan is to allow more research and allow more community education. And News 19's Nikki Marker joins us in the studio. Nikki, what was the thinking behind adding AI cameras to garbage trucks?
Well, Greg, city officials said that putting the AI cameras on garbage trucks could scan and detect potential code violations and public works issues on the truck's routes. Now, suggestions included potholes, dangling utility wires, graffiti, or illegal dumping. The city was considering comes from a company called City Detect. As the truck goes along the trash route, the cameras collect and store data. The city said it allows their staff to become more effective in doing their jobs. But many community members were frustrated by the proposed idea, questioning why every household that pays for trash pickup should also be under surveillance. In a city council meeting back in July, 10 people raised concerns, saying the proposal was intrusive and felt like Big Brother. Now, I did reach out to the city to see if they could expand more on what that research and community education that they are planning to do. A city spokesperson gave me this statement, which says, in part, at this time, there is no urgency to adopt the platform, and the city has chosen to take more time to evaluate its capabilities and fit for Huntsville. If the city decides to pursue this model in the future, community education and transparency will be central to the conversation. Now, in that July 24th council meeting, the city council voted to push the decision to September 25th. The city now tells us that this technology will no longer be included in their budget for this new fiscal year, which starts in October. The council is scheduled to formally withdraw it during that September 25th meeting.
Woo!
Play video.
Man, we got just 2 wins right there.
That's right.
So yeah, I was at that July meeting. I was not able to attend this recent one because I was sick and did not want to infect everybody. But we won, folks.
Yeah, it goes to show you can get things done even in a state like Alabama if you're organized with your friends and your comrades and you put pressure on the right people.
Yes, and what we worked in coalition with several other orgs out there, and we had folks put flyers out, and we emailed, and we went to city council, and we talked offline with folks, and we put the work in. Yeah, we put the work in.
It helped that nobody wanted this except for the city councilors and the city administrator.
Yeah. And I think the one of the city administrators, or he's an ex-military type, and feel like he's some sort of you know big surveillance type of big technology type of person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they listened. And there's a lot of folks that put in a lot of effort. I wish I could name everybody. But that would last another hour. And if you'd like, you can go to the city website and catch the public comments. That's another win we got. As a matter of fact, is they've now pushed the public comments back to the front of the line. Shout out to the city council president Meredith for doing that, for getting that done. It was their city comments when George Floyd was murdered. They did several things. They moved him to the back of the the meeting, so less people would be able to show up and talk, right? Because it gets towards sleep time for folks, and then they stopped streaming them, and they did a few different things, but now we're getting some wins, folks. You know what I'm saying? By working together as a community. And this is just one of them. But yeah, they were going to start off with like 5 routes at about $1 million for a cost, and it would have shot up to about $3 million if they did all 25 routes. But yeah, and we'll see about them with their little education program of educating the community. We'll be educating the community just as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But that's not the only thing. This effort right here, Huntsville residents protest ICE detentions, calls for city to respect immigrant rights. This effort right here was led by the folks at Indivisible, who they're dope, man. I really respect their leadership and their sense of decency. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like, they're highly related to the Democratic Party, but they're not the federal Democratic Party. You know what I mean? They're your neighbors, and they
Absolutely.
won't. Yeah, and they're not they're not corporatists. You know what I'm saying? They believe in basic civil rights.
The local Democratic Party is a little more progressive than the Democrats at the federal level. It's not an organization full of John Fettermans and Nancy Pelosi's and Chuck Schumer's.
Exactly.
So the state party is problematic for a variety of reasons, but the local people are pretty cool. And I say that as the local head of the Green Party.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some of them to run as Greens. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that would be ideal. But
we got a fight ahead of us, and we're in it for the long haul. Because I tell you what, I ain't gonna lie, Jay. I'm pretty tired of the fascism already, and it's effectively not even. Yeah, exactly.
Year.
Exactly.
It's amazing how tiresome it is. It just takes it out of you.
Yes. I want to be fishing, man. No,
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
I tend to agree. Stephen Miller coming out on the news talking about we're going to root out all this, and we're going to take your money away, and we're going to put you in jail, and he's such a scumbag. But
even his wife thinks so.
But a group of residents calling for the city government to respect immigrants' rights not participate in the U.S. immigration and enforcement detention activities. Group staged a protest on the steps of City Hall on Thursday afternoon, with many of the participants later addressing the Huntsville City Council. They asked council members to pass a resolution barring the city from any agreement that would grant federal civil immigration enforcement authority to police officers or detain or facilitate the detention of immigrants for federal immigration enforcement purposes. I'm a retired teacher, and I've taught many children from different countries. Retired teacher Donna Payne said during the protest, "It just really upsets me to see people picked up by ICE. They're not getting due process. Some of them have been picked up, do have their papers, but they're not given a chance to show them. And as an example, there's been over 10,000 veterans that have been swept up in these kidnappings. One of the protesters shared a letter from Chelsea Brunti Barojas, who said her husband, Antonio Barojas Solano, was taken into ICE custody outside of North Huntsville home on August 6th, along with 3 other Hispanic men. The letter was shared during the protest and at the council meeting. The letter said that the husband tried to explain that he was married to a U.S. citizen, had legal representation, and had 6 children who were citizens. Antonio is a man of faith, a father of 6 U.S. citizen children, and the sole provider to our family. He's not a criminal and has only ever had minor traffic violations in the past. Who hasn't? He works hard every day in construction across North Alabama, paying taxes, contributing to the community, yet this is how he is treated. The letter said he was denied access to a lawyer at the Etowah County Sheriff's Office and was being held under inhumane conditions with no proper medical care, inadequate food, and unsanitary conditions.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Alabama's prison system in general is a crime in progress. And so I'm sure the way they're treating immigrants is just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah. These are not criminals. Of course, we don't want criminals loose. They're hardworking people trying to make a living. They care for their families. It's outrageous. But the worst of it all is people who are picked up when they are going to their appointments for their hearings. They're trying to do the right thing. I just don't understand it. We're not treating people humanely. Yeah. It's a good little article. Simply put, if the Constitution due process rights are not for some people, then it's not for anybody. Exactly. Because if you don't think they'll scoop you up, you're wrong, because they've already scooped up U.S. citizens.
The mechanisms they build will always be turned on whoever their enemies are. And that's why, it's one of the many reasons I oppose the death penalty and like the construction of guillotines and things like that, is because that machinery will eventually be fed to it. Like the French Revolution proved, right?
Yeah.
Like when they ran out of mobility, they happily turned on each other and fed each other to the guillotine.
Yeah. Exile.
Yeah.
Exile's fine. But City Administrator John Hamilton, that's the fella that I was talking about with about the AI cameras, said the Huntsville Police Department did not have an agreement with the ICE when it came to enforcement. He said such an agreement would have to be approved by the council. He said the department currently does not have the resources to take on the added responsibility. He said ICE has not approached the city about such an agreement. He said, however, that the city was aware of the federal immigration enforcement within the city limits and did not dispute the account shared at the council meeting. Hamilton said the city did not have the authority to interfere with enforcement by federal agents within the city. He pointed out that the people arrested by Huntsville police officers were taken to Madison County Jail, which falls under the authority of the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Hamilton said the county jail does notify ICE when they have people with undocumented status in custody. Oh, there's our banana.
Yep. The anti-fascist banana. A legend.
Yes. And relatedly, if we can get to that, we got ICE joining traffic stops in Alabama to arrest more immigrants. This picture is down in Mobile. State troopers are working with federal ICE agents this week to arrest multiple people at Northwest Alabama traffic stops, part of a broader scheme to ramp up immigration enforcement. I think I saw on Reddit, on one of the Alabama subreddits, these traffic stops. A spokeswoman with Aaliyah said state highway patrol and special agents conducted driver license checkpoints within Franklin and Colbert counties on Wednesday while ICE agents were present. The Colbert County Sheriff's Office did not respond immediately. Franklin County Sheriff on Wednesday told AL.com that state and federal agents arrested several people at checkpoints near a poultry plant in Russellville, taking the workers away. Statewide, more immigrants are being arrested at traffic checkpoints, which, if I remember, were decided to be unconstitutional. I guess that's just thrown out the window, right?
Yeah, what's the Supreme Court going to do about it?
Yeah. So, Evelyn Servin, an immigrant community organizer in Russellville, said many people there are afraid to go out and do grocery shopping or let their kids go to school because there's rumors of more arrests. Hispanic residents made up 40% of the city's population. And with the Supreme Court basically doing away with the Fourth Amendment, is that right?
Yeah.
Racial profiling's back on the menu, boys. So yeah. So a little bit of win. What else we got going on? We put Space Force as the title of this.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about
the Space Force. So the Space Force is coming to Alabama, to Huntsville. There's about 1,400 employees of Space Force. I guess they're going to relocate from Denver or wherever in Colorado the Space Force is currently located. So 1,400 Space Command jobs will transition to Redstone Arsenal over the next 5 years. So, I mean, the more the merrier is my attitude in general. Like, I'm not bothered by people moving to Huntsville, but I am bothered by this militarization of space. Like, I guess I have a problem with the Space Force writ large, and like the particulars of where they're located are sort of immaterial, other than, this just further cements the military-industrial complex as the backbone of Huntsville's economy. And I would like to see it transition to something more peace-based.
And, something Karl Marx didn't think about was space imperialism and space fascism.
Space fascism, yeah. I mean, they're talking about doing things like putting nuclear reactors on the moon, and I'm just like, no, can we not?
Yeah. And not only that, a race to put it on, like, this sounds like a comedy of errors to unfold. Like, there's going to be China and Russia and the US trying to get up to the moon, and they're all trying to build nuclear power plants, and it's going to be Moonerble. Is that a portmanteau? Moonerble, Chernobyl on the moon.
Chernobyl on the moon, yeah. Which is just a horrifying thought. And like, I don't want to look up at the moon's surface and see the lights from a nuclear power plant. I'd rather not do that. That seems like it's just taking something that's humanity's common birthright and just defiling it for no good reason.
Well, I wouldn't be opposed of a joint effort by all the countries in the world for exploration up there, but this, it's the way it's going. I do not like.
Yeah, for sure.
But I understand your argument for pristineness of nature, for sure.
There's all that real estate. Do we have to trash the moon? Like, I mean, I'm opposed to living on Mars too. I think we should keep Mars pristine as well. But I'm less bothered by people building stuff on Mars than the moon.
Yeah, we can't really see Mars, like, but really, like, I can imagine, like, oh, like, hey, come look up at the telescope. Let's look at the moon, and then you see big ass billboards up there for X, the Everything app.
Right. Come live on the libertarian commune on the moon. Or it won't be a commune, will it? It'll be libertarian.
No, it won't.
It'll be BioShock on Mars. Except dumber, because Elon Musk will be in charge of it.
Way dumber. Like there'll be some like highly flawed thing built into it where they'll probably like use AI to manage like their air supply, and that'll be it, folks.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, shoot, I might apply for one of these jobs.
There you go.
Not everybody's going, and then you know, unionize them.
As I say, you can join as assault.
Exactly.
And organize them. Organize
thinking
the
about there's that that new drone factory standing up as well. That might be a good one to do. These are just ideas, folks.
To shut it down. Like, there's a friend of mine did back when I was an organizer for the IWW, a friend of mine made a Facebook post where he was joking that he was going to join a prison as an assault and organize the guards and form like a workers' co-op for the prison. And you should have seen like the responses that the guy. I mean, he did it on April the 1st, of course, so they should have known. But you should have seen the sheer anger of the responses that he got to that proposal. And I mean, rightfully so if you thought it was real, but like, come on, it was April Fool's Day.
Well, yeah. Well, why can't the prison be owned by the prisoners? Why not? Oh, yeah. You get sent to prison, you get ownership in it.
Yeah. Well, that would be one thing, but like just the prison guards organized and owning the prison, I think would be problematic for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. Which, it would be slightly better than what we have now, though, which is, capital, private capital, owning the prisons, like Core Civic, Geo Civic, whatever they're called.
I think it's Core Civic.
Speaking of prisons, the Alabama community colleges to study ways of improving prison education outcomes. This was a very surprising little article to me. But the Alabama Community College System Chancellor Jimmy Baker said Wednesday he'll work on strategies to reduce recidivism and try to create a system where all the agencies that in any way impact incarceration or the release of prisoners, so that when someone is gone to prison, they have some understanding how to improve themselves, but they also have all the skills. ACCS runs the J.F. Ingram Technical College, the state's only correctional educator provider. This is news to me. The college, which provides training in 19 career fields as well as GED preparation, adult education, and soft skills training for in the workforce, had 3,000 students enrolled in 2023. What's the prison population? What are we at?
Oh, I have no idea. Let me look it up real quick.
Baker told the board the task force has piqued the interest of legislators, and the goal is to help formerly incarcerated people find jobs. Mission, to the extent it can possibly be, is if a student or a person is incarcerated and we know that they are at some point going to be out of confinement, start a process to determine what we can do to provide a training program so they, upon completing their sentence, can have a skill and know there's a job. in lieu of abolishment of our prison system as it is, I think this is pretty incredible. Major coordination of all the element efforts between convictions, mental health, Department of Human Resources, and education. Just trying to improve what we're doing so we can reduce the number of people that return back to prisons.
So in 2023, we had 20,181 prisoners.
So 20,000. So about what, 15% are enrolled in schools, huh?
390 per 100,000 people, which is on the high side nationally, as I don't have to tell you.
Yeah. That's crazy. 390 people per 100,000.
There's states that are worse.
Oof.
Mississippi
Who's
has
wor-
61.
They're at 61 per
600
100,000?
661 per 100,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ. They're twice as bad. Jesus.
Yep. Louisiana's at 596. Arkansas is at 574. Oklahoma's at 563. Those are the worst states. And then like Idaho at 460.
Wow.
They're locking people up in Idaho.
Right. So, and more the prison system. We've got the Alabama Supreme Court orders the execution of Jeffrey Todd West by nitrogen hypoxia. And we've talked about this a few times, and I think we talked about it last week as well. But KIV has.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say KIV has established a 30-hour window for the execution beginning at 12 a.m. on Thursday, September 25th, and ending at 6 a.m. on Friday, September 26th. So 30 hours to effectively strangle them to death.
So it's worth contacting Ivy. Your pleas will fall on deaf ears for sure, but I feel like it's important to try.
Well, yeah, if you don't, it's definitely not going to happen. But you know, the only thing that really feels like that'll. Hey there, thank you for coming.
Hello.
Is getting this done at the federal level. But you know, this is something that you know, a working class candidate can run on, is to abolish the death penalty in the state. It might be, you know, I think we saw that the rate was around 55% nationally approval of the death sentence. But I feel like if somebody running for office with convincing arguments, right, on the morality of it and whatnot, that number can change. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
it's just, you know, it's just something that people might not put a whole lot of thought into, and that when people lead and bring a message, that it can take hold, you know. So, but I mean, we're at 55%. That's you add a little plus or minus 3%. You could look at it as at 52%. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's definitely fallen by the wayside slowly. As we've seen so many other things like become popular and have a huge majority, and you know, is it the MLK saying that the universe bends towards truth and justice.
It's the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Yeah. And I think that is right. And I think we are seeing it. It's just those that hold power do not. But the working class does. And I have faith, infinite faith in the working class. Because as you look through history, the working class has gotten us to where we are. As rough as the world is, still is, um, it can be better. And most people agree with each other. And we definitely have more in common with each other than we do with the rich and powerful. And that's something we need to remember and take to heart. As I said, all your future comrades are to your right.
Right. And we're gonna have to learn how to talk to them and persuade them. And our ideas really are better. And they would be, even if our ideas were implemented even just a little bit, it would result in a better world. So we don't have to bring in, complete total socialism now. And in fact, we're probably not going to ever be in a position to do that. But steady wins over the course of time. And I know the moral issues are urgent, and it's hard to wait. But I think the path of persuasion is much better in the long run.
Yeah. And it does work. Like there's people that were in cults, and they come around. And you might not be the one to do that work, and that's understandable. There's plenty of other work to do, but there's got to be folks out there having a whole lot of annoying conversations.
Right. I'm the crazy uncle at Thanksgiving, except I'm not a right-wing MAGA chud. I'm the one saying you kids need to start a union at your school. Like
I am too. Last Thanksgiving, I went on a rant about the rich and powerful, and that we're all working class, and we got more in common with somebody on the other side of the planet than we do with rich folks. And nobody said nothing against it. But then again, maybe they just don't like arguing with me.
they politely listen. Yeah, that's what I get. I get the polite listening.
Yeah.
But I'm the crazy uncle, the crazy spinster uncle at Thanksgiving.
Well, so all y'all out there listening, be that crazy relative that speaks the truth about loving thy neighbor. Well, some good news here that overdose deaths in Alabama dropped more than 30% from 24 to 25. So this was from March 24 to March 25. The data showed that 1,057 reported overdose deaths in the state in March 2025 compared to 1,500 reported deaths in the same time last year, a 30% decline over 12 months. And this mirrors the national average, which fell 26%. It is important to note that Alabama deaths were underreported due to incomplete data. Oh, there's our favorite international guest? No, not guest. What the hell's the word? Chatter. You don't like my music. Howdy gangsters. What's up? What's up, dog? Good to have you. Thank you for dropping in. Freak. Me and you both. Me and you both. Neighboring states also saw overdose deaths decline, including Mississippi at 23, Georgia at 22, and Tennessee at 31. The only state in the U.S. to see its overdoses increase was Arizona. So I do find it like, what is this attributed to? You know what I mean? Is this education? Is this people not able to afford the drugs? Is this Narcan machines or Narcan being dispensed? What is the fundamental cause of this?
I don't know. I hope it's something good like access to Narcan and education.
Yeah. But since it's coming from the CDC, we'll probably at this point never know.
Right.
So I think we got one more little thing to look at. And I did want to finish with something about Nepal, but what we got here. You don't like my music says, I haven't been on the scene in a while, but are addicts actually seeking out fentanyl, or is it being used as an adulterant?
I'm not up there. I have no idea.
As far as I know, it is being other drugs are being adulterated by fentanyl. You hear a lot about that with like fentanyl. I think there is, however, heroin, but I think there is, a steady group of folks that are straight addicted to fentanyl. But there's cases of it being adulterated into like marijuana and cocaine. But yeah, it's a little of column A, a little of column B. And we kind of started with Kirk, and we're kind of ending with Kirk. Yeah. Yes. As far as I understand it, many overdosers think they are getting other drugs. Yeah. I think you're correct on that. There are people that straight up want fentanyl, but yeah, they're getting hot shots, I think is one of the terms. Or, they say it's this and they're getting that. But Charlie Kirk here, and his passing set off a wave of threats. Alabama State University lifts lockdown after terroristic threat. Somebody on my Blue Sky, they posted one of the threats that came into a university. It was fucking horrible to read. But ASU was locked down Thursday after what, and there was at least 7 HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, after what the university said was a terroristic threat directed at the Montgomery campus. While law enforcement remains on campus, we have made provisions for students to return to the residence halls and access meals for the remainder of the day. All other campus activities have been canceled. ASU President Quentin Ross Jr. wrote in a statement released just before 4 p.m. on Thursday that the all clear had been given. Ross wrote that non-essential campus operations would remain suspended. ASU remains committed to providing quality education and safe environment, uh, one that prepares and trains the next generation of history makers in the days, months, and years to come. ASU's got an enrollment of just over 4,000 students. Two other HBCUs in Virginia, Virginia State University and Hampton, also received threats. Southern University in Louisiana, Clark, Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, and Morris Brown in Georgia also reported sheltering in place orders. A spokesman for Aaliyah wrote Monday afternoon that the agency was gathering information on the threat. Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed said in a statement Monday afternoon that the threats to ASU and other HBCUs was deeply disturbing and unacceptable. The threats will not shake or resolve or diminish the vital role of HBCUs in our city, state, and nation. We will not be intimidated by fear or hate.
Wow.
So, but yeah, there was this, and this is from September 11th, which is, 4 days ago now, 3 days ago.
Yeah. The day after Kirk was killed.
Yeah. And I was worried about, and I'm still a bit worried about the response from the right as to all this, but
I am as well. I'm worried about the government response too. I'm worried about the government, cracking down on DSA, taking away our nonprofit status, using RICO to shut us down. I don't know how they could do the latter thing, but they could certainly take away our nonprofit status and harass us in other ways. I'm worried about political violence. I'm worried about tit for tat political violence, regardless of what the shooter's beliefs turn out to be.
yeah. A little bit back to the other subject. Back in the 90s, dealers were passing ketamine off as MDMA. You only figured it out if you suddenly couldn't move. That's horrifying and the opposite of an MDMA, from what I understand. But yeah, there's a DSA is, I think, trying to mitigate some of the stuff that's happening. But don't be Fed posting out there, folks.
Yeah, they're doxing people and getting them fired for things that they say and do. So just be careful about what you're posting.
Yeah, there's a Charlie's Murders site. Charlie Kirk was murdered. Report political extremism to us so we can track statistics on its prevalence. Make a submission. And see, they had, and join our mailing list, they had a scrollable list of people. Hell yeah. You don't like my music. Hey, we got international chapters, just so you know. But they're trying to create a database, and they say they have like 20,000 people on it already. So yeah, there'll still be fallout from this, and but we're not going to end on that. We're going to end over here. We're going to end on Nepal currently being run via Discord after Gen Z uprising. They went from banning social media to being run by it. So our Discord servers have power. How many Discord servers are you in out there, folks? I am in way too many.
I'm in at least 10.
I got you beat. I would say some of mine, though, are not politically related. But are all yours politically related? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm in a couple of religious ones as well.
Okay. Yeah, the speculation over Kurt's killing is getting crazy. It is getting crazy.
We talked about that earlier with conspiracy of the day or the week.
Yeah, and Jason is as of yet unconvinced, but I'm convinced that he was a groiper of the Nick Fuentes bent and had been for a while.
Yeah, I think it's too soon to tell.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going with my gut on this. You know, I thought he was a right winger when before I even saw the video, and I just heard about it. I was like, this guy's a right winger because, like, the name, the last left winger that did something like this. I mean, everything that's happened since you go back to the beginning of this year, that fella that blew up his Cybertruck. When is a Cybertruck in front of Trump Plaza in whatchamacallit in Las Vegas? He was a right winger.
Yep.
And down in Louisiana, that shooting, he was a right winger. Yeah. The weapon stockpiling. Yep. The guy who had a list of 40 something folks up in Minnesota he was going to kill. He was a right winger. All these school shootings, right wingers, like over and over and over again. It's almost 90% of the time. And the other 10% is something, you know, there's mental health issues and I think religious fundamentalists, some like right, and then some percent that's like unknown. So like, yeah, when you see political violence, if you want to make a winning bet, you can bet on a right winger executing it.
Statistically, that's true.
Yeah. But so Nepal, though, this right here, this is a fucking pretty badass picture. Man is hanging a pirate flag as smoke and flames rise from the Singha Durbar after people set fire to it. The seat of Nepal's government's various ministerial office in Kathmandu, Nepal, on September 9th, 2025. Yeah, that's and then he's got the flag of Nepal right there. But the next time someone tells you the youth aren't engaged enough in politics, just point them to Nepal. According to multiple reports, the youth of the South Asian nation managed to oust the existing government following an attempted ban on social media and took to Discord to hold an impromptu election to elect an interim prime minister. Earlier this week, demonstrators led primarily by students and youth groups took the streets of Nepal to protest the decision of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to ban operations of social media platforms in the country after accusing the companies of failing to appoint liaisons to hear the demands of the Nepali government. Some citizens of the country believe the crackdown came for another reason, though. Social media had become a primary source of directing discontent at the current administration, including a recent Nepo Kid campaign that alleged corruption throughout the government, highlighted by the lavish lifestyles of the children of elected officials. The demonstrations quickly turned violent as Nepali police killed at least 19 anti-corruption protesters who were, if I recall correctly, basically children.
Wow.
The demonstrators responded by setting government buildings on fire, including the Prime Minister's office. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Ali resigned and fled the country with the military in charge and imposing strict crackdowns on gatherings. The youth in Nepal took to Discord to organize. Servers set up act as a digital convention space, attracting more than 100,000 users, organized by a civic group known as Hami Nepal and dominated by activists who spearheaded and took part in the demonstration that ultimately led to the ouster. Within the server, discussions as to who the group wanted to lead the country took place. The server has hosted conversations with candidates for the role, and members have voted on the platform for their choice. Sushila Karki, a former chief justice and well-known anti-corruption crusader within the country, also a woman. The organizers appears to have worked on Friday. The military accepted the recommendation of the group and named her prime minister. She accepted the role and has picked a new cabinet and eventually hold elections that are expected to take place within the next 6 months. There's a hazy line between fascism and mental illness. Very true. And yeah, some people don't. Some people don't tolerate naked corruption. Musk would have shut the protesters down on social media. Yeah. I remember when one of the things that I thought was fantastic about Twitter was back during the Arab Spring and how it was used for organization of folks back then. Damn shame what it's become. But yeah, there's power in a Discord server.
Apparently so. There you go. You could become the government and run the government through a Discord server. I love the One Piece flag too. What's that all about?
Yeah, that is a One Piece flag, isn't it? It's pirate / One Piece. Well, they are pirates, aren't they? I've not watched it.
They are. I've never seen it. I just recognize it.
Pirates were pretty egalitarian. Some of them.
Pirate ships were run democratically, and there were strict rules about who got what share of the treasure, and what you had to do in order to earn it. So they're very interesting.
There was definitely some take from the rich, give to the poor going on with them.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So I think, do you have anything else we wanted to hit up?
No, I think we covered everything that I posted.
Yeah, absolutely.
The red and black.
I still like, yeah. If you notice our thumbnails, wink, wink, nod, nod. Know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to hit, I think. It's been a slow news week for Alabama, and most of the news is focused on Charlie Kirk, of course.
Well, hopefully there ain't too much to talk about this time come Wednesday, but I think there still will be. I did see something along the lines of TPUSA had a doubling of chapter requests to 18,000 from 9,000. But who knows? And even on the right, organizing is hard. So good luck out there. Oh,
Exactly.
we don't get no. Well, we're at 8 p.m. Central on Sundays and Wednesdays, and on Wednesdays we do the Slop Show, which is national and international news, with a few other things thrown in. And Sundays is more Alabama stuff, but hey, still come join the fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, for the folks out there, like, comment, subscribe. Yes, 9 Eastern. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. I think we're at 99 subs. So we're almost to 100, which I find is pretty incredible, considering we haven't been doing this very long and we haven't even hit a year yet. So, one of the
We're dubiously well. You're good at it. I wouldn't say that I'm good at it.
trying to get subs. Yeah, I need to hit up Reddit. I need to. I found there's somebody on one of the DSA subs was asking for podcasts, and I saved the post, and then I didn't post, hey, here's a DSA one. But damn it, I need to. But we're getting there. That's right. Every waterfall starts with a few drops. Beautiful. Yes, sir. But yeah, I think that's about all for this week. Take your drugs, folks. I'm about to take mine. And we'll be here on Wednesday. And thank you for spending time with us. We much appreciated. Please spread the word of what we're doing and help us out there. But yeah, is that it, Jay?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, hey, as we like to say around here, all the power to all the people. We, the people, break our chains together. Solidarity forever, folks.
Solidarity forever.